Hey, what's happening, y'all? It's Iconic coming at you with the Diablo Immortal video. So I wanted to formally introduce y'all to the channel, talk a little bit about what you can expect, the content I'm going to be bringing to y'all. And the main reason that prompted me to make this video was we are now 16 hours and counting from the launch of D4. Is going to be coming out tomorrow. So been waiting for that, and over the past year I've been playing Diablo Immortal, just kind of waiting on D4 to come out. Played a little bit of D3 too as well, but wanted to give my opinion on what I've thought since playing Diablo Immortal. I played the open beta for D4. I also played the server slam event that they had going on, and wanted to talk a little bit about the differences between the two games, what my thoughts are, and just, I'm pumped for the release of D4, and just tell y'all a little bit about what you can expect too as well from the channel. So to start off with, this one's brand new YouTube channel for me, and life got a little bit in the way. I was expecting to bring this out a few weeks before D4 dropped, and have some content on Immortal. I didn't make the cut, obviously, as I'm just getting ready to upload my first video for y'all. So you're going to end up getting a mix of both content. I'm still planning to be fairly heavy into Diablo Immortal, just with the time invested, some money that I've invested into it. I don't want to say invested, I guess not a good word, but the money that I've spent, and I will say the time that I have invested into it. I've got a high level character. At this point, we swapped over to Demon Hunter, but we're 733 Paragon, 60% XP here, so we're above server Paragon. I still need to do some upgrades on my gear here. You can get up to level 30. I'm at 23 at the moment. My max res is 2330 something, I think. 2330, 2340, something like that. But I'm in a fairly competitive clan. We're in the top 10 in shadows. We don't really have enough firepower to win the 3v3 battle to become immortal, but we're always up there, and there's some really good people in my clan, a lot of grinders. I've spent a lot of time, so I definitely want to keep playing the game. I mean, my focal point is going to be D4, especially in the upcoming weeks as the game is just launching. And going into the first couple of seasons probably. But yeah, just want to give y'all a little bit of what to expect. You're going to be seeing both from this channel, Diablo 4 and Diablo Immortal. So also, what I wanted to share with y'all was just kind of my thoughts of for playing Diablo Immortal for the past year, and then getting a chance to play the open beta, and what my thoughts were, what the differences are. And I know Immortal has a bad rap, but for me, why I started playing it is obviously, I mean, I was getting impatient, waiting on D4 to come out. At the time, I really didn't have too many ARPGs that I love ARPGs, but nothing was really sticking with me at the moment. I grinded through Grim Dawn quite a bit, played quite a bit of Path of Exile, but that one to me it's just too much. So as fun as Path was, it just didn't hit home for me quite like D3 did. And I know that may sound crazy to some of y'all, but it just didn't really do it for me. And I knew kind of D4 was around the corner, but for me, Immortal has been just convenient, I would say. I've been in a spot where I had my first kiddo a couple years ago. He's 2 now. We have a second kid on the way. He's actually going to be out coming up here in the next couple of weeks, so I haven't been able to be just glued to my PC like I once was. And for me, getting in that quality gaming time, I like the game. It's how I relax. It's how I like to release stress. Finish up a hard day and hop on a game and grind a little bit. And
you must hunger for death.
where I am in my life right now, like just being able to sit at the computer, sit at the computer, sit at the computer, like it's not a thing that I can do like I would like to right now. So Diablo Immortal really gave me the flexibility to be able to pick up and play in short bursts. If I had some free time here and there, I can hop on. You know, if I'm playing with my son, watching my son, I can sit on the couch, you know, he's doing his thing and he's right there, and I can be on my iPad and play. So it really brought me that convenience factor of being able to play anywhere. And then when I had time for the longer gaming sessions, you know, I could hop onto my PC and play too as well. So, I mean, obviously I know that's a pretty obvious difference. That's pretty standard stuff, but the fact that it's mobile and it's cross-platform really gives it a different feel for an ARPG game. Now, also with Immortal, it's a different type of grind for a Diablo game because it is more of an MMO, I would say. Like, there are some aspects to it where you're definitely forced into playing with other people. If you come over to it here, you have a war band, and these are going to be with your 8 people that I won't necessarily say you play the most with. Like in my case, I mean, I typically do play with a lot of these people the most, but the people that you can get on the same schedule with, because a couple times a week you have to do these warband raids, which will drop upgrades for your Heliquari, which will give you combat rating. And that's the next thing I kind of want to touch on is the system in Diablo Immortal. Good, bad, and different, however you want to take it. Combat rating is the driving factor of Diablo Immortal. It's what you're always trying to increase. It doesn't directly necessarily increase your power, but it gets you to the next levels of the game. So right now, we're in Hell 8. There are some updates coming where, what do they call it, a curse mode or an inferno mode, something like that, is coming out. That'll be the next difficulty that we can go to. So you're constantly chasing this difficulty, but once you hit that target, like you're steamrolling through everything. If you don't have the combat rating, then you really can't do the content. So you're in this loop of constantly chasing upgrades and combat rating to keep growing that number. And I don't want to say make your character more powerful, because that stat itself by itself isn't really making you more powerful, but it is giving you access to the next level of content. So that's definitely something we aren't really used to in a Diablo game, is having this extra mechanic here that's gated. Usually in most ARPGs and a Diablo game in general, like it's still your gear, but it's the attributes and the stats on your gear that are maybe preventing you from getting to the next level. It's some of the synergies that you're working on. It's your Paragon levels and just gaining more power overall that may be preventing you from getting to the next point. And with Diablo Immortal, you've got quite a few things going for you. Resonance is going to be one of those things that the resonance portion of the game is pay to win, but it does make you more powerful in terms of it increases your base attributes for damage and life. So you have your resonance and you have your combat rating, and then your secondary stats are actually really important too as well. And then you have all the other things, your crit hit chance, crit hit damage, attack speed, movement speed, your damage increase, defense increase. Like you have all the other little stats too that you're chasing too as well. Your set bonuses too as well can give you additional power, but it's a different type of grind. Would definitely be one of the things I'd point out for Immortal. So switching over to the D4 front, I wanted to just share my experience that I'm so hyped for it once I got a chance to really get into the open betas. Watching other people talk about it and seeing some clips that other content creators had the opportunity to do, and they had the in-game testing and a couple of other things that happened. Like, I was just salivating, waiting for the chance to be able to hop into D4. And I wasn't disappointed. I know there's a little controversy with like some of the early game leveling and maybe how the synergies work with some of your legendaries and the aspects and things like that. But just the short preview that I got, it's only a small portion of the game. Like it really is not even probably a quarter of the game that we got to experience in these open betas. But I was very happy with the graphics. I was very happy with the visuals. I thought the story, while it's never necessarily been inside of the game like the craziest story, but it's always to me very well done. And so far it seems like it's shaping up to be a pretty good story to D4 too as well. Lilith and Inarius are back and definitely headed towards a crash course. That's all I'll say at the moment. I don't know any more than what y'all know. Y'all probably played the open beta too if you're watching this. But I definitely like the way, the gritty, the darkness, the settings of it, and I really have fun playing a sorcerer. I normally go for mage type classes. That's actually my favorite in Immortal too, actually. Side note, I don't like it as much for PvP, so I tend to class swap a lot, but my favorite PvE character in Immortal is the wizard. And that's usually true for me in most ARPGs. I love casting spells. I love all the area of effects, doing massive damage quick and then having to avoid damage and kind of being that glass cannon. So for me, wizard, sorcerer, mage, whatever class you want to classify it as, like I typically like to play those in an ARPG. So for my time in the open betas, I only played rogue and just a tiny bit of barbarian, but I did level up rogue to max. I leveled up sorcerer to max, and I had the best time with the sorcerer. I may have had more time spent to like get a little more synergies and play around with the aspects and the legendaries a little bit more. So maybe that skewed my perspective a little bit, but that's what I'm going to start out as in D4, is going to be a sorcerer. So yeah, really, they're both Diablo games, but obviously you have a lot of pay-to-win aspects of the monetization inside of Diablo Immortal 2 as well. Now that doesn't prevent you from doing anything in the game. It is going to accelerate your progress, and it is going to be your ticket to the leaderboards. If that's what you're kind of playing a Diablo game for, and I know a lot of people do like to be competitive, they want to be on those leaderboards, they want to blast a game. And if you're looking to do that in Immortal, like, I mean, you really do have to pay to win to be able to get up to the top. I would say it's not necessarily Battlegrounds. I'm 12th right now, and y'all saw my resonance there. I was actually #1 monk. I'll have a video on that I've already made, but I need to edit. That was our last cycle, but at my level, I was a #1 monk on the server, so it is possible, but a lot of it is just doing Battlegrounds constantly. But that is another notch for me for Diablo Immortal as to why I like it, why I continue playing. Even though the PvP is not balanced, I know you can say whatever you want. There's only one map at the moment, and then you do have inside of the towers here. I wish they would actually open this one up, but you do have a PvP mode that comes along with these accursed towers that you do twice a week, depending on where your clan is. We don't have anyone contesting, or we're trying to get this tower right now. But yeah, nobody's contesting us at the moment, so you don't do it as much. Like I would love to do this more. I actually really like this map. I think it's a more balanced map, and it just switches it up. But in terms of like an ARPG, being able to really test your abilities against another player and how fluid it feels, like I really do actually enjoy playing the Battlegrounds inside of Diablo Immortal. Now, I haven't obviously been able to play the endgame to Diablo 4 yet, so I don't know how the Plains of Hatred, I believe that's what it's called, how that's going to work with the PvP. I've watched a couple videos of some people that have done, some quick reviews on things, but obviously the full-fledged game wasn't launched, so it's kind of hard to say what that's going to be like. But I would probably say the PvP in Diablo Immortal is going to be better than what you're going to have inside of D4. I may be wrong about that, but you know, it didn't really work out for D3. Other ARPGs haven't had much success for the most part. I mean, some people have hit the mark, but just the way it feels, the combat, the fluidity of it, the way your skills work inside of the battleground, like the PvP mode inside of Diablo Immortal is definitely, I think, going to be a notch up compared to D4. But that's a little bit more me speculating. I'll have to get my hands on it and see. But it's definitely one of my favorite parts of the game. And again, even though I know it's imbalanced, I know at my resonance level, like, I'm in a lot of tough battles, but I do still find it fun. I still find it enjoyable. It makes me mad at the same time, so I'm not going to sit here and act like it's perfect, because it's not. But just being able to go in and battle other people and seeing how you stack up definitely is enjoyable to me. So we have the PvP aspect. You also have a little bit of a different in-game grind, it sounds like. So from what I've seen from the D4 in-game, it does seem pretty robust, especially even at launch. And we know there's going to be more systems that are coming. There's going to be more things to do. But, I mean, from what I've seen, you've got the Nightmare Dungeons. You've got the Hell Tides. You've got the bounty type system with the tree. You've got the world bosses that come in. You're grinding your Paragon board and your Paragon points. You've got the Fields of Hatred. So it seems like there's quite a few things to do. And I would say with Immortal, that's probably the biggest downfall, is the in-game grind, the in-game loop isn't that satisfying. It is tedious, it is repetitive, which I don't mind. It's an ARPG. I know what I'm excuse me, I know what I'm getting into. And I like the grind, I appreciate the grind, and I don't mind grinding. But because the content for the most part in PvE is so easy inside of Diablo Immortal, again with what I said with the combat rating, as long as you met that threshold for combat rating, really your daily task, I mean, you're going to go in and you have 8 bounties, you do them in sets of 4, and I mean, you can do a set of 4 bounties in like 5 to 7 minutes solo. You could do them in like 2 or 3 minutes if you party up with people. So those don't take you long. You have dailies that you do if you're a shadow or an immortal. I've done mine already, but you're typically going to go do a contract, which there's a couple of ones that are a little bit longer, but for the most part, the contracts take about 5 minutes to do. You get 3 of them on a Monday when they reset, and then every other day outside of Monday, it's just 1 contract. So really, 5 minutes to go do your contract. You raid the vault if you're a shadow, you defend the vault if you're an immortal. And they have it during 2-hour-long periods throughout the day. Really, you only need to do it once a day. I mean, it's fun too, because it's another type of PvP mode that's inside of the game. So just from a competitive aspect, it's kind of fun to run it, but really you only need to do one of those a day. And it's not really giving you a ton of rewards, at least on the shadow side, to do it. I mean, you're going to get some extra hilts, you're going to get some extra gold, but you max it out throughout the week. So it's not really something you can just grind and grind and grind. And then typically there's going to be a third option where sometimes it's receiving your blessing at assembly. Sometimes it's going to be to participate or win a battleground. Sometimes it's an elder rift, sometimes it's a challenge rift, but you do those 3 activities and you're done with your shadow activity for the day. And then really the only other thing for you to do is with your warband. On Mondays and Thursdays, you do your Heliquary raids. And at this point, I mean, they're not difficult. Like, you think of a raid and you're thinking you're going to be in there for a while and it's going to take a lot of coordination, but you just blow through the raid bosses. if everybody's on and ready to go, and like you can do them back to back to back and get them out the way, like what is it, like 10 to 15 minutes on the raid bosses? Like it's not really that crazy to go through them. These events that pop up are usually things you're going to be doing throughout your time as you're playing for the most part. So like today, defeat 10 elite monsters. Like you're going to do that just playing the game. Defeat 50. Most of the time it's just tasks that you're going to be doing. Hungry Moon does add a different aspect to it where you got to go run some dungeons, but that's the only other thing really in the game to go do, is to go do dungeons. And at this point where everyone is in the game, really you only want to do your 3 dungeons. It's usually up top here, and it'll give you a guaranteed set piece. You run the Sanctum to get your free keys every day, and that's a couple of minutes. I mean, it's a mobile game, so you know these things do need to be quick hitting, quick punching, but there's a lot of little activities that can add up to a lot of time throughout the day. But the biggest thing really, and they haven't brought anything different to Immortal to replace this, and that's going to be circle farming. There's plenty of circles in the game where you just run a loop and you're farming. And that's going to get you the most materials per hour, the most legendaries per hour, the most experience per hour. And there's really not anything else in the game that's going to replace that. At least that they've come up with thus far. You can also go and do your towers. And that's actually a pretty decent place to farm. I'd argue that's probably the second best place, maybe even the first, depending on how long you want to go in there and grind. But it does get pretty tedious after a while. And for me, that's kind of the component that I'm missing, and why I'm so excited for D4 is I enjoy doing certain boss runs or running a specific dungeon, or just the increasing difficulty of the content where you've got to keep getting better and keep getting better gear, and maybe respecking your build a little bit to be a little more defensive, because you need survivability. I enjoy tinkering with the build and min-maxing and really getting to a point of being able to do the hardest content in the game. And then once I've been able to do that, then I want to make another character, try something different, try a completely different build out, maybe a completely different class, and do it all over again. Or you know, with the seasons and ARPGs, how we have that with almost every game now, being able to start over from fresh and see the new mechanics and kind of figure out what the best route to go is. I definitely enjoy doing that. And really anything that any build is going to work for all content in Diablo Immortal. Like, yes, there's definitely meta builds and there's builds to deal the most damage. For example, with my Demon Hunter, I'm doing 100% attack speed here. And this is going to be the most effective build you can pretty much run for DPS on Demon Hunter right now. There's variations to it. You can definitely add in a skill. You can switch something out, but for Demon Hunter right now, this is the build. This is what everybody's running. So there's definitely a stale nature to it, especially with where we are in the game. We've been in Hell 8 for quite a while, and you don't really have anything else to max out your character at this point because you can't really get any higher stats. Like, as you increase your Paragon, your legendaries can roll higher, but I have 330s in pretty much every slot at this point, except my pants. So it's gonna be hard to find an upgrade for my legendaries at this point. I've already maxed out the Essence Mastery. I've done all the story content. There's nothing left in that aspect of the game for me. So it is a point where it's like I'm ready for D4. I'm ready to have that grind and just a different ARPG grind. But again, like I said, I still enjoy Immortal, like, for what it is. And this is also the point I want to bring home, and I'll end it on this note. But for what it is, I think people forget about it because it has the Diablo name on it, because it's a Diablo game. people hold it to, I think, the Diablo standard, and it's a mobile game. Like, yes, I'm playing it on my PC right now, but at the end of the day, it's a mobile game, and it's, for me, out of all the mobile games I played, it's probably one of the best mobile games I've ever played, in terms of like the amount of content that you have, the updates that they're doing. They've been listening to feedback. They have been making the game better over time. Like, from where we started a year ago to what we have in the game now, they've absolutely made it better. Are there bugs? Yes. Are there things that could be tweaked even further and fixed? Absolutely, of course. I'm not out here shilling for NetEase and Blizzard on this one, but from what they've been able to present, the graphics on the game, how smooth the combat is, the amount of things that there are to do, even though they're fairly easy. Before a mobile game, like, this is one of the most immersive, big experiences, especially the story mode of the game. Like, if you just level a character to 60 just to go through the story, like, it's a pretty good experience for a mobile game. And they just keep adding more content, they keep adding more to it, they keep updating it. So there's some more updates to come, kind of coinciding with the D4 launch. We've got a couple more things coming in the next week or two, going from then until July. There's a new class dropping. We've heard about some fair PvP modes that may be coming. New map, new story. There's definitely some things that they're adding on to the game to make it even better. And every quarter there's a major update at this point, and every couple of weeks we get a minor update. So they're definitely, I think, still in it for the long haul. I'm not of the belief that I think D4 is going to kill this game, because there is a different audience that plays it. Of course, there's quite a few people that have just been playing this waiting for D4, myself included, but I never thought I would get this deep into it, and I did. So yeah, in terms of what you can expect from the channel, I definitely want to make some build guides and just best practices, best things to do in the game when it comes to Diablo Immortal. D4, I want to share my experiences. I'm not a pro level player or anything by that nature, but want to share some game footage with y'all, share my experiences, what I know, what I've learned as I'm playing it, give you guys feedback and news, and hopefully give you guys some entertaining content. But that's all I got for now. Thank you guys for watching, checking it out. Again, this is a new channel for me, so anybody that would like, subscribe, comment, anything, I definitely appreciate y'all. But I'm gonna look out for y'all on the next one, and expect a lot more content coming here in the next few weeks from me. Appreciate it.